Some breaking news to get to here on a Monday on Philadelphia Eagles Now. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And in case you missed it, a playoff picture video earlier breaking down all of the Eagles playoff scenarios, so be sure to check that out. But we're doing this show because there was some injury news on Jalen Hurts in the wake of the Birds escaping Chicago with that 25-20 win. And we saw that play yesterday in which Jalen Hurts got crunched to the ground. Took him a little bit to get up. Jordan Mailata said after the game that he went up to Jalen Hurts, and Hurts had said, just get me the F up, but Hurts was slow to get up. This coming from Tom Pelissero, that Jalen Hurts, his status is in doubt for Christmas Eve's game against the Dallas Cowboys. If Philadelphia wins that game, they win the NFC East outright. It is going to be a sprained throwing shoulder suffered in the third quarter Sunday, but here's the deal, is that Tom Pelissero is saying it's a sprained throwing shoulder. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer is saying that it is his non-throwing shoulder, his left shoulder, in which the injury occurred. So obviously, whether it's the right or the left, it's a different conversation depending on which arm is officially the one that Jalen Hurts hurt. Because if it's his throwing shoulder, that's something that could linger for a little while and obviously impact him as a passer the rest of the regular season and hopefully not into the playoffs, but that's a reality that does exist. If it's his left shoulder, then I don't think this is much of a concern. This is just more of a precaution for Philadelphia. And we talked earlier about the potential possibility of Philadelphia resting its starters against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve, knowing that they have a 99% chance to win the NFC East and to get the number one seed in the NFC. To lose it, they would have to lose the remainder of their games with the Cowboys, Saints, and Giants coming up. Now, after that injury, Jalen Hurts did finish the game, and he uncorked that beautiful 68-yard ball to A.J. Brown, in which it was just a dime, and the deep ball accuracy for Jalen continues to be very underrated. If he threw that ball with an injured throwing shoulder, that's pretty impressive. If it was the left, again, it just completely changes the story here. And this is why the game plan for me, whether it's the right or left shoulder, just didn't make sense at all yesterday against Chicago from Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni. The Bears have one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. So I could see why Philadelphia wanted to run the football a lot, but not with Jalen Hurts, not in the midst of a playoff push, especially with that secondary for Chicago not being good either, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith going off. Why have design quarterback runs for Jalen Hurts in a game that you should be able to beat, even if you don't bring your A game, knowing this guy's an MVP candidate, you need him for the long haul. Now, he performed pretty solid outside of throwing those two interceptions in the first half. The final tallies, 22-37, 315 yards, no touchdowns through the air, with the exception of a couple of those deep balls to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, all three of his tutties coming on the ground. But 17 carries in a game this late in the season against a team that is just inferior in Chicago, a lot of those were designed quarterback runs. And when you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, why open himself up for injury? If it's a playoff game, if it's a game against the Dallas Cowboys in which you need to exploit them to win the division, then I understand relying on his legs. This also explains the movement that we saw here from Monday morning to Monday afternoon. Some books had the Eagles as 1-point underdogs going into this game against Dallas. Then the number skyrocketed to 5. And also some more line movement as Patrick Mahomes has now leapfrogged Jalen Hurts to an NFL MVP. Maybe the odds makers got a good indication that Hurts got injured. He was going to be out against the Cowboys, which explains the line movement for that game. And if he misses a couple of weeks here, or if the Eagles decide to shut him down for the remainder of the regular season, that could explain why Patrick Mahomes is now the favorite to win NFL MVP. Now, of course, if Hurts can't go, Gardner Minshew will get the start. And we're going to talk about Gardner Minshew on the show coming up around the corner. First, though, do you still think that the Eagles can win this game against the Cowboys without Hurts? I do. I'm going to type my PHI for the Birds because the Cowboys are just so mentally weak. Who you got on Saturday night? PHI for the Birds, DAL for the choking Dallas Cowboys. Let me know down below right now. The Eagles can still win with Gardner Minshew. He's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL and a guy who is a borderline starter in this league. And we know that here in Philadelphia, this city loves a backup quarterback story in big spots. You go all the way back to Coy Detmer. to A.J. Feely, to Jeff Garcia, to Michael Vick, to then Nick Foles, who led this team after the injury to Carson Wentz to the only Super Bowl trophy that this great franchise has ever won. Gardner Minshew can step in against the Cowboys team, by the way. Everybody wants to talk about Dallas having the best defense in the NFL behind San Francisco. They've gotten throttled the last 2 weeks against the Houston Texans and against Big Balls Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. So I don't want to hear it that this defense is just clicking on all cylinders right now, and the Eagles' playmakers, offensive line, and ground game allows Gardner Minshew to find success in this spot, in my opinion, and we know Minshew really likes the big stage with the best mustache in the NFL, and this is why you don't trade him away. Of course, we talked about the possibility and the trade rumors for Gardner Minshew earlier this year because he's probably going to walk after this year to try and get a starting gig elsewhere or very good backup money. We've seen the history of this organization shows they're willing to spend a lot of money for backup quarterbacks, but you don't trade him in case Jalen Hurts gets hurt and you need to thrust him into this role. You don't want to go Ian Book in this game. You have Gardner Minshew, and last year when Hurts did injure his ankle, Minshew was pretty solid. Went on the road, won a big game against the Giants, 68% completion percentage. I think that game was at home, actually. 439 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. And in the preseason, Gardner Minshew was looking pretty good, too. Just distributing the football. You put together a good opening script for him. You get that early advantage. Then you play complimentary football. After that, there is a reason and a pathway for success for Philadelphia. All right, so Rocket Money is today's sponsor, and like I said, I appreciate all of you for giving our show a watch. Make sure you subscribe to the show if you are. Hey, we appreciate the love, but Rocket Money showing us some love as well and making this content free. Don't waste your money and cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money by heading to rocketmoney.com/Eagles now. Do you know how much your subscriptions your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 per month on subscriptions. Makes sense, right? Well, how about this? The actual total closer to $200+. That's right. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. And there's this app. Myself and producer Coop, we love using it. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. Shows all of your subscriptions in one place, then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. And to cancel it, it's easy to do it on the app. All you do is press cancel. So get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money. Head to rocketmoney.com/Eagles now to start saving money today. We'll put that link in the comments section. It's also on the pinned comment of this video. Going back to Jalen Hurts here, injuries, a little bit of a concern with him because running quarterbacks are very difficult to keep healthy. And the Eagles have had pretty good injury luck so far this year. No injuries that can just change the course of the season, but the big conversation becomes, look, if you want to invest in Jalen Hurts to be the starting quarterback for this organization moving forward over the next several years, you have to know that he's going to be available. And if you have to continue to rely on his legs, there's never a promise that he's going to be able to stay upright and healthy. And if he does injure his lower half, does that then in turn impact his ability as a thrower? These are conversations that I guarantee you Howie Roseman and this front office are having. And hopefully this doesn't impact him as a thrower in the playoffs. Again, it all comes down to where that injury is, right or left. So let me just take a quick look here. It is the right throwing shoulder for Jalen Hurts. So Jeff McClain did say correction. Usually he's on his game. So it is going to be a right shoulder injury for Jalen Hurts. The NFC playoff picture hopefully doesn't impact the Birds all that much. Philadelphia sitting pretty right now, 13-1. As I alluded to earlier, a 99% chance of winning the NFC East and claiming the NFC. As long as the Eagles don't lose out and the Cowboys win out, of course, the Vikings, Eagles have a huge cushion and that tiebreaker as well. And then the wild card race, pretty fascinating right now between the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders. Everybody wanted to say the NFC East was going to be the NFC least going into this year, but this is shaken out to be one of the best, most competitive, and deepest divisions in all of football. Other teams still in the hunt, 7-7 Seattle, and how about the Detroit Lions under knee-biting Dan Campbell? They've really turned it around, and that's a joke right there, obviously, because I commend Dan Campbell for what he's been able to do. The establishment of a culture there in Detroit where it's been really hard to do that comes in for Matt Patricia. That organization was left in the cellar for him, and he's overturned it here in 2 years. And the team that nobody wants to face in that wild card round, and if they advance the divisional round, it's honestly, and I know this sounds crazy, the Detroit Lions with how they're playing offensively with Ben Johnson, their OC, Jared Goff's been slinging it, although I don't really trust him in a cold environment, and then that defense playing good as well. If you made it this far, it's Cowboys week, so of course it's all about the motto here, F Dallas. I hope that Gardner Minshew goes into Jerry World with the Cowboys battling for playoff positioning, and he hands them a fat L. And then when he leaves the field, he says, F Dallas. What's up with this stash? All right, type it into the comments section. Appreciate all of you for watching. And again, right shoulder injury for Jalen Hurts.